Yes.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another edition of Ninjacators' new weekly live event, Profits at Noon. Welcome, Daniel and William. It's great to see you both. I hope you're both well, having an awesome week so far. Excellent. If you're joining us over on YouTube on the simulcast, I just want to give you a quick shout out. We are hosting these sessions within Zoom, passing that signal along to YouTube so you can join us. If you'd prefer to be here in Zoom with us, there is a link beneath the video. You can click, register, and receive reminders for all of these live events. We're going to get started in just a minute here. Give a few more folks a chance to get in and get settled before we get started. In the meantime, my name is Nate, if you have not yet met me, and I'm co-hosting these sessions with our very own Richard Krugel, who is in the house.
How's it, everyone? How's it going, Daniel, William?
Very cool. If this is your first session, guys, I'll just give you a few quick tidbits before we get started here on what you can expect. This is our weekly live event. We are live 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at noon Eastern time. We're going to show you the levels that we are stalking for entry, and we're going to do our best to steer you clear of any market traps, news bombs, or surprises that could be waiting around the corner. So we're going to show you lots of great live analysis here across our 6 favorite futures markets, and we'll also be highlighting what we call our levels to lock. So pay attention to these levels to lock. We revisit them in future sessions, and this is how we're able to monitor and follow along with all of these, with this analysis, these trades in action. So hang tight. Richard's going to take the reins in just a second here, get started with that analysis, and give you some levels to lock. I just want to quickly mention we will always leave time for Q&A. If you have any questions throughout this session, please do not hesitate to fire away there in the chat. We are always happy to chat and discuss with you. That goes for you guys over there on YouTube too. Please feel free to fire away at any point. We will ensure that there is room and time for those questions in this session. With that said, the only other thing we have planned for you today beyond the analysis is just we're going to put a live event on your radar where you can join us later today. So I will check in later in this session, share that link with you, give you some insights on what you can expect, and also ensure all the Q&A is taken care of. And of course, the highlight often of these sessions, our dad joke of the day. So stay tuned for all of that. But right now, I'm going to give Richard Krugel the reins. He's going to kick this session off and dive right into the analysis. Richard, to you, sir.
Thanks, Nate, and welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today again. As always, we'll be going through the markets I generally follow with my specific techniques. Before we do that, just a quick disclaimer that all the information in today's session is provided for educational purposes only. It's not an offer or recommendation to trade futures, stocks, options, or Forex. All right, guys, we'll just get rid of this flashing thing over here. FOMC statement and rate decision at 2 p.m., 2 hours from now. So that's quite a biggie. They're expecting to raise again, I think, 25 basis points. Could potentially be the last one for this year. Well, that's what they say. Who knows what's going to happen? Things have sort of been going haywire already, apparently, with this whole banking thing still in everyone's mind. Quite a bit of volatility in all these markets, as you probably will see very soon. So, not sure what's going to happen with the FOMC statement. Already had some significant moves in the ES to the downside. Remember, I was following this entire sequence to the upside, mentioning that we're moving higher in a 5th wave. Now, the real question is, was this the end of that 5th wave I was talking about on Monday? Again, price just pipped this previous high. We were tracking this decline, mentioning that potentially could have been a 4th wave. And as I also said, we had an invalidation level here for those that were on Monday. I actually had a look at the SPY, the ETF that tracks the SPX or the ES, and the SPX main index as well. And this number 4 that I mentioned was potentially a 4th wave, did not actually cross into the area of the 1st wave. So this invalidation whole thing is off the table. Anyway, that's just a quick recap. Still thinking that this was a 3rd wave, a 4th wave had completed, and that either this 5th wave is still building to the upside. If this was some sort of, let's say, a 1st wave higher, let's say a higher low is going to form here. Well, we only know that if price breaks its previous high, then we might get pretty strong third, fourth, and a fifth. Still to the upside, or maybe some sort of a sideways sort of ending diagonal into a fifth wave. Whatever the case might be, can't really forecast that. But, you know, there is a possibility that this was the fifth wave high. I was saying that we potentially could see moves a little bit higher for a fifth wave to potentially terminate. If we look here at the ES, round about, what was it, towards the lower side at 4,200, which price already reached, to the upper side around about 4,260. So price not really there yet. And like I said, could potentially have just been a first wave higher, with price still making its way, or still has the potential to make its way higher. Now, if price would instead break this previous low, that already, well, almost reached yesterday's projected range low at 4,100-ish, then, you know, the probabilities will increase that that was actually a fifth wave. And that we'll then expect after a five-wave sequence that we've been tracking for a very long time now, a deeper sort of a correction. All right. So, but currently I'm still thinking that a fifth wave could still potentially be underway. Again, who knows what's going to happen with this FMC statement, how the market's going to react, who knows. So we got to just keep an eye on these levels. Really not really trading today much. The price has been hanging around in anticipation for this FOMC meeting and the federal funds rate around today's pivot point, 4,143. So, you know, which way price is going to go, who knows? We'll just have to keep an eye on things and then recap things again tomorrow and see what the after effect was. NASDAQ, again, also been using these median lines sloping to the upside, using these three most prominent anchor points prior to the strong move to the upside. Also mentioned that we expected higher prices, similar to what happened on the ES around about the end of April. And here the wave count looks a little bit more clearer, potentially a 1, 2, was this a 3 and this a 4 and a 5? Or was this already a 3, a 4 and a 5? Oops. And now we can see a deeper decline. That's the real question here. Also very cool to see how these angles are still sort of acting as support and resistance. Previously, price was sort of riding this lower median line, this red one, and look how it's riding it again. So yeah, so not really much to mention today on the indices, guys. Really just have to wait and see which direction this market is going to go. Do we have some more upside potential? I do think so. It's just because price did not really reach those areas I've been talking about. Doesn't have to, obviously, but it would just have a nice sort of look and feel to it to complete that five-wave sequence I've been talking about. But these days with the volatility, you know, you get a V-shaped bottom, and this goes for all the markets that we follow, sorry. And you can just as quickly get a reversal again. So is this the start of a new move to the downside, or the start of the deeper decline on both the ES, the NQ, and the YM? We'll just have to recap things again, like I mentioned, tomorrow. All right, so let's just quickly talk about these levels that we've been looking at, all the levels to lock. Same thing on the NQ, just been hovering at today's pivot point, 13,204. I think if it breaks a little bit higher, then I think these highs will be reached in probably quick succession. Today's R1 at 13,299 and S1 at 13,074. Again, I can't really say which direction things are going to go. Didn't actually even here on the ES expect such a strong decline. But again, it is what it is. We'll just have to look what price action does and, yeah, see if we can get another move higher or start prepping for seeing this deeper decline that I've been expecting sooner rather than later. This brings us to the Russell. Again, not one of my favorite markets to trade at the moment. Very, very messy price action. I was talking about the possibility that the Russell could potentially be tracing out a very large triangle formation, where price actually reached this low sort of like the end of March, potentially giving us an A, I don't know, a B, in a very messy sort of looking a CE is still underway. Who knows? It's very, very messy. So I'm not really actually going to spend much time on this. Russell, on the other hand, just broke above today's pivot point, 1,745, potentially heading towards R1 today at 1,770, and potentially even today's projected range high at 1,774. But again, good luck trying to figure out what's going on here, or potentially even trading this. It's just an absolute mess here under Russell. This brings us to gold. And the reason what I'm saying here is I was talking Monday about the potential that price is actually, or not is, could potentially be tracing out some sort of a triangle. And I did mention on Monday that if we would see a break below this zone here, that would potentially confirm that this was a triangle and that we could potentially see price move a little bit lower. Now, that obviously didn't happen. So the triangle idea is off the table here. And I really need to start rethinking my wave count here. We did a good job here at identifying this triangle formation here, while price was also trading higher in this channel. And I was counting this from the sequence starting end of Feb, this as 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. Now, there could also be, how can I say, the possibility, because I was sort of being thrown offside about this 3-wave move to the upside here, because you will expect a 5th wave to end in 5 waves, right? Now, if it does a 3-wave movement, you quite often can have a really good indication of that you could be dealing with an expanded flat, where you have a 3-wave sequence, and then some sort of a 5-wave sequence to the downside. Not very clear, extremely messy. So this could potentially be that we've seen a 1, a 2, and then this is sort of subdividing in a 3rd wave. But this 3rd wave was actually here somewhere. That this was a 4th wave correction. And that price is now building its way back up for a 5th wave. So, yeah, price is actually on gold been very strong today. It already broke above today's pivot point at 2013-18, and it's now heading again to the center channel line of this big blue channel that I've drawn here on my chart. It's been on my chart for quite some time here. I'm still going to leave it there because it still looks like this angle is quite valuable to have a look at. I mean, it's been acting as support and resistance pretty well. Even if you look at all these lows over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, at the same angle than this channel. I hope you can see that on your charts. So still telling me that what I call the operating angle of this move to the upside from around this point here, before this triangle started over here, is that this angle is still working. So price is now broken above this median line that I've sloped to the, this pitchfork that I've sloped to the downside. I'm going to actually get rid of it for now. And I'm still going to use this channel for a little while. Just be careful that if you are long gold, that we might run into this channel very, very soon. Price almost touched it. That's around about 2037, 2038 at the moment. Then we also have today's R1, and that's around 2040. So it's a little bit above that channel line. It's acted so many times as support and resistance. So that might be an area where we see resistance step in. I've did say for quite some time that I am bullish on gold. We did expect potentially a deeper decline here, but yeah, I might have just been completely wrong about that. And price might now be heading back up to new highs. And then if it does make new highs, I'm probably going to have to start also thinking that the 5-wave sequence has completed. And this is not, discounting it is discounting what's happening in a way bigger picture. I'm just looking at this sequence over here. Is this sequence near completion? Has it completed? Is this still part of a correction? Who knows? Gold will most likely also react to today's FOMC and rate decisions. So we're just going to see what happens and, look at things again tomorrow. But yeah, just watch out. If you are long gold or be trading gold, I think this could act as resistance when price hits that level. All right. This brings us to crude oil. Crude oil's been absolutely slaughtered. I see that the crude oil inventories, there was another draw again, well, way less than expected or forecasted. So yeah, it's been moving very, 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 very strongly to the downside. I've been saying for quite a while, after a 5-wave sequence here, we could expect a correction. That was sort of the right thinking, but now my thinking must probably switch to whether this 5-wave move to the upside here was potentially a C wave of some sort of an expanded flat, and that price, is now gunning towards new lows for the year. That's definitely a possibility. Price already just sliced through the 61.8 retracement. It's just hit the 78.6 retracement. Nearly touched today's first deviation projected range low at 67.84, and it looks like it's finding a little bit of support there. But yeah, it's very difficult to see some sort of a corrective structure in this move to the downside at the moment. It does look very impulsive. So let me just quickly have a look at the bigger picture. This does bring in the possibility that this was corrective. And if you see a 5-wave move of correction, it's typically part of a C wave. So now how to try to find or figure out a expanded flat in all of this mess, yeah, very difficult. It could be that this was a 3, a 3, and a 5. So this was an important low over here, that a correction started over here somehow in a 3-wave move, that we had a 3-wave move here, and then we had a 5-wave move to the upside, a 1, 2, a 3, a 4, 5. And now price is gunning for these lows that we thought would actually hit this lower line when we start looking at, well, when we looked at crude oil back in, when was this? Mid-March somewhere. So it does look like crude oil could potentially be breaking its lows, and there's definitely that possibility that this could have been a C wave of a expanded flat, i.e. that this mess was corrective in nature. So that's still a possibility. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Is that 78.6 for retracement level going to hold? Potentially not. After such a decline, it's anyone's guess if we're going to get a bounce sooner, or we're going to start seeing price decline below this low over here. So yeah, bearish, I would say, on crude oil. Obviously, it looks very bearish. But I'm just saying at the moment that 78.6 could potentially still hold. But if it doesn't, and we don't see price heading higher from here very, very soon, that I think price should break these lows and enter sort of where this low number 2 or this second wave low formed over here, that could potentially point towards, should I say, I'm mixing my words up here today, that this low is going to be broken here. That was set in about 17th, 18th of March. All right. So, again, not too much to update you guys today, other than crude oil being exceptionally weak, gold making its way to the upside, ES, NASDAQ, and YM and Russell all sort of moving sideways a little bit after a pretty strong decline that's been, that happened since beginning of this week. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how these markets react when the federal funds rate decision comes out, and also the FOMC press conference, which is going to follow. I think that's at 2:30 p.m. afterwards. So yeah, I wish I had more to say there, and not really too much to update you guys on. But yeah, we'll just retouch or relook at things tomorrow again, and see how the markets have reacted. That's pretty much it from me today, Nathan. A bit of a short one.
Sure. Yeah. No, thank you so much. I'm getting my camera on here. Let's see. Perfect. Yeah, as always, very much appreciated. Yeah, so sounds like we're definitely hanging back for some updates. So we hope to see you all again, not only tomorrow in our final session of the week, but of course on into next week. We'll be live again Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays, all at noon Eastern time. And of course, some of our familiar faces here. We love to see you always. So as promised, we've left some time here for Q&A. We are going to put this live event on your radar that Richard's got on the screen here. A lot of you are probably familiar or have at least heard about our robot labs and our robot lab software. So if you're interested in any way, if you hadn't had a chance to check that out in a live environment, Christian will be going live today right after market close at 4:15 Eastern time. He's going to roll up his sleeves, give you a look under the hood, some of his portfolios he's built, plenty of Q&A. It'll be a very informative session if you have any questions or interest in automated trading software. So sounds like Hal's already on board with Robot Lab, which is great, which that may have come up previously, actually, maybe when Craig was here. So I know you get to see Craig a lot. We will have Craig Hill back in the house next week on Wednesday with some updates from his portfolio. So we'll have that to look forward to. Jackie also loves the Robot Lab. We love the Robot Lab. So definitely, if you haven't had a chance, check that out. Let me go ahead and drop that link here in the chat just so everybody has that. If you have not been to any of these sessions just yet, ooh, it looks like that is a link for yesterday's event. I apologize. That does not look like the right link. I apologize, guys.
No,
One
that's
second.
for Signal Trader.
Yeah, that does not look like. Did I send you the correct one? I must have, huh?
Yeah, I've got the Robot Lab open here.
Okay. Let me go ahead and just grab the correct link very quickly. So I do apologize for any confusion or inconvenience there. Here we go. All right, so disregard. I will tell you more about our Signal Trader Lab. Unfortunately, that event already took place yesterday. We will have another one on deck next week. We'll be happy to share more about that. That is new. That is very exciting, and we've had a lot of questions, a lot of interest around that. So we'll have more on the Signal Trader as well. But for today, if you hit that link, what you see on Richard's screen is where you'll be headed. So we'll pass that over to YouTube as well. Do encourage you to join us. But again, if we have any questions at all about today's analysis, if you want to pick Richard's brain on anything that we've covered here today or what lies ahead, please feel free to fire away in the chat. We'll be more than happy to hang out here for a few minutes and answer any questions you may have. So we'll give just a few minutes here, just a chance for anybody to fire away. Don't be shy. No such thing as a stupid question here in these sessions. We're a team. We all love to learn together. So please do not hesitate if there's anything on your mind. Beyond that, again, we just have Robot Lab today. We'll have more on Signal Lab for you next week, as well as Craig Hill, the man, the myth, the legend, will be back in the house Wednesday of next week with updates on his portfolio that he has built with Robot Lab. So again, Hal, Jackie, it sounds like you guys see plenty of Craig. If you're sick of Craig, I won't tell him. Don't worry. Your secret's safe. But just a heads up, he will be back. So looks like we don't have any questions coming through. So that brings us to the potential high point or low point of the session, depending on your point of view, is the dad joke of the day. Real quick, I'll see Craig is a great guy. We love Craig, Hal, absolutely. And Jackie's Signal Lab for next week will be on Monday. It just happened to be the way that fell. So we will have a Signal Lab event on Monday of next week, May 8th. Please feel free, if you don't see any emails about it or anything like that, please feel free to reach out. We will also be sharing a link to that on Monday's session, so you could jump into that later in the afternoon on Monday, worst case scenario, but we'll definitely hook you up. So yeah, Richard, are you ready? The anticipation, it's palpable for this dad joke.
Hit me.
All right, we'll get it in the chat as always. Here we go. This is a good one. I'm really proud of how terribly bad this is. So what do you call a theatrical performance on puns? This is very on theme, very on topic for us.
No idea.
What do you call a theatrical performance on puns? So we've got the answer coming your way here. Looks like nobody's got this one, so we'll just fire it off. A play on words, everybody. A theatrical performance on puns is a play on words, which is...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's layers to that one. It's like an onion. You just keep peeling it back, and it's just terrible.
Jeez. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well,
Awesome
as
stuff.
oh, go ahead.
No, I said awesome stuff, bro.
Okay. Well, as
Keep
always, everybody, we do thank you for your time and we appreciate you being here with us in these sessions. Please join us again tomorrow for our final session of the week. We are live tomorrow at noon Eastern. And just a quick reminder, 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. One last shout out to anyone watching the simulcast on YouTube. There is a link to register for these Zoom sessions and join us directly within Zoom. If you'd like the VIP seating, we encourage you to do so. Check that out. And again, Robot Lab later today. So in the meantime, we will be back tomorrow. And we can't wait to see all of you again, all our familiar faces and some new ones. And thank you again, Richard. I think that wraps us up.
Thanks very much. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. And thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Cheers. Bye-bye.